the hell fuck was that? I mean, I guess I could review it. Technically it's a sports movie, but there's just so much that doesn't belong. I mean, Renaissance fairs?
Renaissance fairs are my bat signal. You know, I was wearing jeans and a t-shirt 30 seconds ago. I hate this already.
I don't.
You're a pervert. So what's this about Renaissance fairs?
Well, I just got done watching the most batshit insane movie I've ever seen in my life, and it's all about a jousting Ren troupe.
Well, that doesn't sound too terrible. So what's the catch?
Join me in reviewing it, and you'll understand. Actually, that's a lie. I just watched it, and I have no idea what the hell just happened, but let's review it anyway.
Well, I was summoned by bat signal, so I don't think I have a choice.
So we open on a forest somewhere, and oh look, it's Ed Harris. He was actually young at one point.
Look! Naked people!
Wait, why is he kneeling down with his sword like that?
Looks like he was about to give himself a medieval circumcision.
Oh yeah, and Ed Harris woke up from a dream about a black bird. That's kinda important, so keep it in mind. Well, looks like the romantic getaway's done, and now the king and queen must mount their noble steed and return to... What the hell is going on?
That is not a horse! You're a knight! If we're just looking at the armor, motorcycle does not equal horse!
Horsepower?
Shut up!
So yes, this is our movie, Knightriders, a George A. Romero film about guys jousting on motorcycles.
TM? Why would you want this shit trademarked? It's already wrong!
I'm still trying to understand how this is a George A. Romero movie. It's already completely different in tone from any other movie he's done, and yet I'm more frightened than I've ever been.
We see that Ed Harris is part of a traveling Renaissance troupe of motorcycle jousters. The movie has the Renaissance fair thing down, though. Minstrels, smithing, people buying shit, squires taking care of jousting weapons, people in correct garb. Unlike me and these two knights on motorcycles. And here's a girl who just wants to come to fair, and her dad is that drunken asshole on the pub crawl that no one likes. Accurate.
We also meet Morgan, one of the top knights of the troupe, and his girlfriend, played by a time-traveling Maya Rudolph, apparently. Another one of the knights, named Alan, almost runs into the girl with the asshole dad.
Oh my God. Oh God.
It's all right, I'll do it.
Oh God, I'm so sorry. I can't believe. Ow.
She might be my favorite character in this entire movie.
Don't get attached, she'll become unlikable just like everyone else.
So after almost killing her, Alan offers the girl a ride on his bike. But she's shown that she's a no-nonsense kind of woman so far, so no way is she getting on a bike with a complete stranger.
Well, listen, I gotta go for a little ride. You wanna come? Come on.
Why did you say yes? You just met this guy! What if he's a serial killer? Or worse, the Sheriff of Nottingham?
Hey, it's this guy that she doesn't know or the fat-ass drunk dad she does know. Pick your poison. While that's going on, a crooked cop shows up and he threatens to shut down the fair unless the troupe is willing to pay him off. He cites the fact that they don't have medical facilities, but it turns out they do have a doctor on site. Or at least some quack named Merlin.
No medical facilities, no doctor?
He's a doctor.
He's a what?
And he's got enough equipment and supplies to handle an emergency.
You're a doctor? Medical doctor?
That's right.
Don't mind the fact that I draw butterflies all over my face, I'm a doctor.
So Alan rides off with the girl on his back seat to look for Ed Harris's character named Billy, and he catches up to him on the road.
Alan, you bad? We have trouble with the police. Who's she? Who are you?
Are you serious? You didn't even get her name off camera?
Best first date ever. Billy arrives at the fair and learns about the cop trying to squeeze money out of him. Morgan just wants to pay the guy and get it over with, but Billy ain't having that shit.
We're not paying.
Oh, come on, Billy. What do you think you're gonna do?
I'm gonna say no, that's all. We're not paying. It's wrong to pay this guy off. It's wrong, Morgan!
It's
Round!
After the cop leaves, the troupe starts the show and, hi there, Stephen King. Taking a break from writing Cujo to make a random cameo appearance, are we? So is it time for my random cameo appearance? I brought my dick.
I'll admit, this is kind of an awesome show. I would love to see this as an actual attraction at a fair. It starts with the jousters drawing cards to see who they'll face off with.
Card games on motorcycles.
Card games on motorcycles.
Card game on motorcycles.
Card games on motorcycles.
Card games on motorcycles!
I also admit that I do like these scenes, but Stephen King in a trucker hat isn't so easily impressed.
They're like acrobats, that's all. They're like the wrestlers on TV. They got the blood bags and their mouths, you know what I mean?
Blood bags? Are we serious, you guys? Seriously? I mean, I could totally understand blood bags in, like, the era of Attitude Wrestling, like, in professional wrestling, where, you know, in the Attitude era, you did use blood bags a little bit, but not completely. But nowadays, you don't really do that. I mean, they use mouth guards maybe sometimes, but to tell me that jousters are using blood bags at a Renaissance fair... serious right now? Like, that's just the stupidest fucking shit. So, blood bags guy, fuck you! Where did you go?
Somewhere. We see that the jousters are competing to become champion for the day, and even for the possibility of taking Billy's crown.
Mohawk defeated by Siraki! Better luck next time, Mohawk.
A woman jouster? Right on, we need more of them, even if only in motorcycle jousting.
So Morgan beats all the other knights, and Billy challenges him personally, despite being injured from the last show they did. This concerns Alan and the other knights.
What is it?
If the king goes down, we have to be ready for rescue.
What?
We have to get to Morgan before he can make the king yield. If Billy surrenders, he loses the crown.
So that's a serious flaw in your kingship then.
There's no basis for a system of government.
Morgan manages to dismount Billy, so the other knights rush to his rescue before he can make him yield. And once again, the Lady Jouster shows us how badass she is.
Basics, Morg. You forgot your basics.
That's some Mythbuster shit right there.
More like spine busters.
Wow, this is a hell of a show. Come on. It's a fake. It's all a fake. They try to make it look tough. They try to make it look dangerous.
Can I kill this guy? I brought my sword.
No, honey, it's Stephen King. He survived doing all the drugs in the 80s and being hit by a van. Also, that is made of foam. While the knights continue the show outside, Merlin tends to Billy's wound in a trailer.
Like the real King Arthur. You know how the story goes. Let's get it once more, huh? Command performance for the king.
Okay, who in their right mind would hire this guy to be their medical doctor? He doesn't even look like a doctor. He looks more like a street performer from Boston. Oh, right, he was.
Hey, everybody, listen up. I'm Brother Blue.
After Merlin patches Billy up, the king is approached by a young fan who asks Billy to sign his copy of a motorcycle magazine with an article about Billy and his troupe.
I don't like this kind of stuff.
All I want you to do is just, sign your name.
I can't. See, this is like Evil Knievel or somebody like that. It's got nothing to do with what we're doing. Do you understand?
And the black card is, how is Ed Harris making himself unlikable in this movie?
By being a dick to children.
You win.
Yeah!
While that's going on, the local bikers are given weapons and are allowed to use them on the field. That's right, they're actually allowing audience participation. I mean, like if the Red Sox let fans participate, or the Yankees, or the Lakers, or the Raiders. No, wait, that might actually improve the team. Ow!
Don't badmouth the black and silver. And sure enough, when you give a bunch of surly bikers axes and swords, they run amok with them. And so it's up to Lady Jouster and one other guy to chase them down.
By the way, look out for that barn!
night, while everyone else is relaxing, Billy and his queen argue about his erratic behavior and how it's affecting the rest of the troupe.
That kid thinks I'm Evel Knievel.
That kid thinks you're Billy Davis, Sir William the Knight. You're his hero.
I'm not trying to be a hero! I'm fighting the dragon!
What the fuck is that supposed to mean? What dragon? You are in a traveling Ren troupe jousting on motorcycles. Why do you have a stick up your ass? Are you actually taking this act seriously? You really think you're a king? This is some Maxie Zeus shit right here.
Shouldn't we be cutting to a Maxie Zeus clip?
No, he's the lamest supervillain ever. He's not worthy of a clip.
The corrupt cop from earlier returns for a phony raid, so the troope's Friar Tuck slips away into the woods with his truck.
It's a raid. It's the cops from Bakersfield.
Well, there's nothing to raid, Tuck.
They were looking for something. I snuck out. I was afraid they'd find my still.
I keep telling you, Tuck, wine's not illegal.
Well, it's more exciting to think that it is.
I love Tuck. He's my favorite character, hands down.
God bless you, only character with redeeming qualities. So the cop plants some weed in the bed of a guy named Bagman.
As you may remember from our earlier conversations, I am a reasonable man. I'm sure we can reach a informal bail arrangement for your boy here.
Does this guy really have nothing better to do than shake down a traveling Ren troupe for money? He's gotta be the lamest corrupt cop ever. But Billy refuses to pay him off, so instead he gets hauled off to jail along with Bagman, where Bagman receives a savage beating. Jesus, Ed! Dial it back a notch! You're in a movie about jousting on motorcycles! Oscar's not calling!
So while Billy's in jail, the rest of the troupe pack up and head to the next town they're set to perform in, even though Billy told them to stay put until he returned. Also, Alan takes Julie back to her house so she can grab her stuff and leave with him.
That's because of me, isn't it?
You're just going to leave your mother to an abusive asshole when you know it was your disappearance that caused the bruise? You suck, lady. You don't deserve the sexy man of this movie. You should stay and face the abuser, for you and your mother.
Merlin gets the money to bail out Billy and Bagman. On the way out, Billy has a few words with the cop.
You better keep one eye on the door wherever you are, because someday I'm going to ride in here and I'm going to wipe you out.
Let's go. Come on, Billy.
You understand?
I'm gonna wipe you out! Come on! All right.
I'll see you at the end of the movie so we can tie up this loose end!
Meanwhile, the rest of the troupe are already in the next town, putting up posters for their show. They're approached by a TV producer, a photographer, and a talent agent who wants to represent them.
Bontempi. Joe Bontempi. Means good time in Italian.
Hey, I'm here to be the movie's stereotypical Italian sleazeball with a really hairy chest! Out! So the sleazeball wants to represent the troupe and take the act to bigger cities, and the TV lady wants to produce for them.
You see, I will be producing the piece that we're going to shoot in Broward. Now, we feel there's a good chance for the network to pick it up.
Wait a minute, are you talking about TV?
Of course.
Oh gosh, don't you remember when televised motorcycle jousting was all the rage? Why, they were crushing Monday Night Football in the ratings.
Also, the photographer takes a special interest in Tuck.
Hi, Louis Tucker, better known as Friar Tuck, God's humble servant.
Oh my God, his name is Louis Tucker. Tuck is in his name, and I think that was the best decision made with this movie so far.
We then see Billy, Merlin, and Bagman on the road to catch up with the rest of the troupe when they're met by their current manager and lawyer, Steve. They all decide to camp out for the night before reaching the next town in the morning.
The big circuit. You're going to pull 15K out of Broward.
You could pull 30 or 40 out of some of these big county fairs. Hell, Billy, I can't even get those folks on the telephone. They book acts from guys like this guy that they've been dealing with all along.
We're not an act.
Yes, you are! Stop taking what you do so goddamn seriously!
Billy goes on about how he doesn't want this crazy world's money, so Steve, one of the only logical characters in this movie, tries to talk some sense into him. Good luck with that, buddy.
Do you have the slightest idea what gas is selling for, or 2x4s, or hamburger, or anything else?
You think it's breaking up?
It's money, Billy. It's all to do with money. Money makes the world go around, even your world.
Everyone must hanker for the butchness of a banker. It's accountancy that makes the world go round, round, round.
But Billy, being stubborn and really stupid, ignores Steve's advice and sets out on his own to meet up with the rest of the troupe. When he arrives at the fairground, the troupe are having a meeting without him. Well, everyone but Tuck, that is. He has more important matters to attend to, namely pizza and sex.
You cannot have a council meeting without everyone being here! Or go shove your goddamn council meeting!
Yeah, that's a $20 fine. That is a $20 fine. You can pay me right now. You can get your ass right out of here.
What the fuck, Billy? You've spent all this time going on about how you don't do this for the money, you don't care about the money, you don't want this crazy world's money, but then as soon as one guy speaks up against you, you fine him $20? I can't act like this doesn't bother me anymore. Billy is a goddamn idiot. He claims that what he and his knights do isn't an act. And sure, we've seen that they do get hurt, much like in pro wrestling. But just like in pro wrestling, of course it's an act. You're going from town to town, putting on a show for people. They buy tickets, they buy food, drinks.
Also, the Green Goblin within the game is colored blue and red according to this panel. Man, you really did have to use your imagination back then, didn't you?
Steve was 100% right when he said that money makes the world go round. You're not in Camelot, you're in goddamn Pennsylvania, so swallow your pride and take this guy's money, or you can make some severe budget cuts, because the dollar is the bottom line.
You feel better now?
Yes.
Billy's latest outburst is enough to finally cause Morgan to say fuck it and leave with his own faction of knights, agreeing to be represented by the sleazeball and the TV lady, whom he has the hots for. But the sleazeball still needs to see the act in person first, so Morgan and his faction stick around for one more show. I'm sure it'll go smoothly.
She won! Rocky won, Lord!
Jennifer! Oh my gods, they injured someone with a motorcycle. It was obviously an accident, but there is no way that those TV people will want anything to do with them now.
I got a lot of energy after a big fight.
Oh, I'm counting on that.
What the hell, lady? You don't even know if this chick is dead and you still want to sign these people? After the woman is hit by the runaway bike, the event quickly descends into chaos, with local townsmen getting on their bikes and raising hell, many of them having made their own armor. But one of the local bikers is some Indian guy with a painting of a black bird on his chest plate. So because of his dreams, Ed Harris decides to join the fray against the black bird Indian guy on a motorcycle. This movie is much more ridiculous than I have anticipated, but at least it has a plot, even if it doesn't make any fucking sense. After a brief battle, Billy emerges victorious against the bird guy, and then either passes out or dies. Is he dead? I hope he's dead.
Oh please, like we'd ever get that lucky. After the show, Billy is tended to in his tent by Merlin, his queen, Steve, and... wait, the Blackbird guy? What the fuck is he still doing here? You challenged Billy, you lost, now get the hell out of the movie! The last thing we need is another subplot. There's already like 1 million of them in this movie, and I have to skip over most of them or else we'll be here until MagFest 2016. Later, we see Morgan at the TV lady's house, along with Tuck, who came along just so he could be with the photographer.
Hey, Joe, look at this. You see this? We had a child while you were gone. Say hi to Joe. He's the boss. Baby, Joe.
God bless this guy. He's the only one having fun with his role.
Meanwhile, Morgan and TV Lady are having sex inside the house. General rule of thumb in this movie. If you're a woman, chances are we're going to see your tits. Sadly, you won't be seeing mine, mostly because this corset is really hard to take off.
I'm a patient man.
I'll punch you again.
So Billy, confident that the dissenters will return soon enough, decides that he and the rest of the troop members who didn't leave will stay at the fairground.
Play a song, will you?
Yeah, looks like it's not finished yet.
We'll finish it.
Instant song. No, I'll play it for you someday.
I'm gonna sing it at your funeral.
Oh yeah, and while all of this is going on, Alan decides to get away from both Billy and Morgan, riding off on his own with Julie. He goes to a friend's house for a few days, trying to figure out what he wants. Well, apparently he doesn't want Julie because he takes her all the way back to her parents' house.
I really don't understand this.
No one does. It's a terrible script.
You're just gonna leave her there? Good for you! Make her face her fears and stand up for her mother that we totally might have forgotten about.
Meanwhile, Morgan goes to his hotel room where he's surprised to see all of his knights fighting with each other. Why are they fighting? I don't know, the movie never explains and they just kinda stop. So Morgan goes outside to sulk when he's approached by Alan.
There can only be one king, Morgan. You can't just split off and start over again whenever you want.
Why can't he?
Why would you even ask that question? You know they're never going to explain it. I mean, that would cut into the valuable subplot time. So Morgan, Alan, Tuck, and the other characters I don't care about go back to Billy.
It looks like he peed his pants.
They agree that Morgan and his friends will face off against Billy's knights, led by Alan. If Morgan's team wins, he becomes the new king. But it really doesn't matter because no one is interesting enough to be king anyway except for Tuck, but he's the comic relief, so that's out.
But before the fight, Billy makes a knight out of the Blackbird guy. The fuck is he still doing there? Did he just decide he was part of the troop and no one bothered to tell him no? He hasn't even had any dialogue.
So the match begins, and Billy's team loses 2 guys pretty quickly. And yet Billy is taking this threat to his crown really well. Better than I could have hoped, actually.
I have to admit, this scene is really fun. And if the rest of the movie was this much fun, I wouldn't hate it so goddamn much.
But oh noes! Morgan's team wins! Now he's the new king!
Yeah, congratulations, Morgan. You get to wear a crown only slightly more elaborate than the ones you find at Burger King.
So Morgan gets crowned, tells the sleazeball off, and crowns the grease monkey as his queen, which is pretty amazing, actually. He's not a bad guy after all, not that it matters, as I hate this movie.
And after Billy hands over the crown, he just leaves. I understand that he lost the crown, but now he's leaving the troop entirely? Where's he gonna go? Back to his old assistant manager position at TGI Fridays? Oh yeah, and because he has nothing better to do, the Blackbird guy follows him. Doesn't this guy have a life to get back to? He only met Billy like a week ago!
And so Billy goes all the way back to the town they were in before and finds the corrupt cop inside a McDonald's. They're actually tying up loose ends? Just fucking stop already!
The cop even goes for his revolver, but Billy grabs it and tosses it into the fryolator! You idiot! I am 99.9% certain that would set the gun off. You are recklessly endangering everyone in this restaurant, and yet, for some reason, these idiots start cheering for Billy! Why are they cheering him on? I know this guy's a corrupt cop, but how does everyone in the restaurant know that? They're just cheering for a man beating the shit out of a police officer!
Well, if it makes you feel any better, Billy also finds that kid from earlier who wanted his autograph and hands him his sword instead, because that's just wicked cool.
Cool? He just walked into a school and handed a dangerous weapon to a kid! That's fucking crazy!
Okay, class, time for a pop quiz.
Actually, Teach, I've decided that we're not gonna have a quiz today, or ever.
Okay, no more quizzes.
Good. Now I do believe it's time for our 5th recess of the day.
Yes, it is. This is actual jousting, and it's a fucking fantasy? I hate this movie!
Me too! Just fucking end already! Oh, thank you, God. I know that sounds cruel, but if Billy dying means this movie is over, I'll take it. You see, that Punisher reference makes sense now, doesn't it?
And there you have it, Knightriders. So, what did you think, Jess?
I hate it, and I hate you for showing me this.
Anything else you want to get off your chest?
Stop talking about my chest! First off, this movie is completely insane. It has a plot, if you can call it that, and it is followed, but so many insane things happen that it's really difficult to follow. The movie could have been an hour shorter and lost nothing. Most of the characters are two-dimensional and have limited motivations. Tuck is really the only character I care about, to be honest. In terms of Renaissance fairs, they have some things that are interesting ideas like motorcycle jousting, and they get a lot of things right. But the pacing of the jousting and involving patrons on motorcycles is a bit far-fetched at best. As someone who worked at a fair, people aren't allowed to be involved in dangerous things, whether it be chessboard fights or jousting. They have to be part of the fair itself, and even then they need specific certifications to even do those things. As for the King Arthur allegory, it fails really hard as only a handful of characters even have the names of certain characters, and the plot doesn't have a very Camelot feel to it. Camelot is supposed to be a magical place that has no issues except for the occasional bad guy, but this fair troupe has so many problems from the start. It isn't Camelot any more than Ed Harris's Arthur himself. Arthur is supposed to be a hopeful character, but when Ed Harris is on screen, I don't feel hope. I feel like the movie should be over as quickly as possible. Arthur should inspire people, but his co-workers leave, some turn against him, and his queen betrays him. Alan seems more like Lancelot than any of the other characters seem like the other Arthurian namesakes. He follows Ed Harris to a fault, leaves Julie behind, and winds up with Ed's queen. Overall, I hate this movie, but for most of it, I was confused and annoyed.
And as for me, if I had to describe this movie in just 2 words, those words would be wasted potential. The idea of a movie about guys on motorcycles dressing up like Arthurian knights and jousting with one another sounds like a lot of fun, and it should be, but this movie takes itself way too seriously. Ed Harris's character reaches Batman villain levels of insanity as he honest to God believes he's a king. He yells at his followers like a maniac, and when money becomes an issue, he acts like he and his ideals are above the money. It'd be like if Vince McMahon thought wrestling was real. The only guy who has fun the entire time is Tuck, but he's not that significant, so he's just relegated to being comic relief. When I found this movie, I was really hopeful that I had stumbled upon a forgotten gem. Instead, I feel like I wasted 2.5 hours of my life. If this movie was a lot shorter, a lot more lighthearted, and if they had given it a heavy metal soundtrack, it would have kicked all kinds of ass. Instead, we get a movie saturated with subplots no one cares about, a protagonist who's a raging asshole, and ludicrous amounts of stupidity. Fuck this movie.
Well, that was bad, but we've both been through worse, am I right?
Well, it's not as bad as Rocket Ship XM, don't ask.
What's Rocket Ship
Why would I review a baseball movie? I don't even like sports.
XM? You just said something about sports movies, didn't you?
It's not just my problem!